So now that we've talked about the Gaggia, which I've just turned on because we're going to be pulling a shot shortly, let's talk about the Baratza Encore. So this is Baratza's lowest end grinder. And before I purchased my espresso unit and the grinder itself, I had been looking for a while for a grinder to choose. And I almost purchased the Rancilio Rocky, the doser model. And then someone told me about the Encore. Now, they are totally different in terms of price. I think the Rocky SD is like 354 bucks. Like it's pretty much half the cost of my machine. And this guy here, he's only about 129 plus tax. But the thing that Baratza has done, they scrapped the Maestro and the Maestro Plus, and they came out with this. And this unit is really effective. You're gonna see here. I'm gonna try to get nice and close. This is um, the scale that they use for the grinder. So it goes all the way from 10, or sorry, 0 to 40. 40 being the coarsest grind that you can get, which on this machine happens to be relatively inconsistent. Um, and then on the lower end, 0 to 10, which is probably your espresso range, it's consistent, surprisingly. And it does get very fine. Like on the Gaggia here, if I go lower than 8, even though it's not marked here, but if you just count the clicks, this will make some noise as you move up the range. It will choke out from 8 and below, which means that it gets pretty fine and it's surprisingly consistent. So on top is the hopper. This is where you fill your beans. Comes with a lid just so things don't get in there. Things don't fall in. Beans don't come out, even though that's not the case unless you fill it up really full. Um, the hopper is removable. If you do get Encore, you do not want to take the hopper off when you have beans in there. This does not have a locking mechanism built into it, meaning that the hole in the bottom of the hopper will always remain open. So if you try to take your hopper off, all your beans are going to come out and you'll have a huge mess. Okay, there are two ways to grind beans on the Encore. After you have your setting chosen, you can hold this, so it's pretty much, sorry, hold this, which is grinding on the fly, or you have switches here, which you just turn forward to turn on, then turn forward to turn off. It's actually really convenient. In terms of noise, this is not a very quiet grinder, but like I don't know if that's really important to most people. I don't know if you've been to a coffee shop, it's loud anyways. And it just does its job and it does it well for 130 bucks. So they do give you a basket to collect your grind. You don't necessarily need that. If you just have a portafilter, you can take the portafilter and stick it under here. It does produce a mess just because it doesn't have something to hold the portafilter in place and it doesn't have a guider for the port into the portafilter basket. But for 130 bucks, you can't go wrong. Now, if you do want to spend an extra 20, Baratza does make an accessory that happens to be the exact same size of the basket. This fits in most of their machines actually, and it just kind of conveniently slides in there. And yeah, the portafilter fits right in, and you can adjust the height of this. I just put it all the way to the bottom, and it works out great. And it does help keep things more organized. And any of the grind that does fall over, it tends to fall inside here, which is good. It's hassle free.